Now, this is a bit of a dream for me, because he's a bit of a hero of mine. So I'm delighted to be able to introduce the very first Parkinson of the new millennium. I hand over to the one and only Mr. Michael Parkinson.
Dear, thank you, Gabby. I don't know if it's a sort of fully-fledged Parkinson program. I've got Sir David Attenborough here, and over in New York shortly we're going to be talking to Dame Edna Everidge, and I thought we'd just sort of round up now at this point and what we've seen so far, David. I mean, you've been holding a watching brief for us during the course of the evening. What have you made of it all?
Well, I'm reminded of how we all felt when we first saw the world from Apollo. When we suddenly saw that we were really just one small globe in space. And I've had that feeling again tonight, that we've been round the world. Mm-hmm. And you may say that the millennium's a very arbitrary date, you know, and we know that it is. We know that it doesn't actually coincide with a particular birthday, as we used to think it did. And we know that the calendar has been messed about, so we don't know whether it really was 2,000 years or not. But the fact of the matter, and the important thing, is that people all around the world agreed, okay, time for a party. Okay, a time for looking back and for looking forward. And if all of us, all the world thinks that, that is not a bad start to be thinking together, it seems to me.
Yes. Can I just say we're getting some terrible noise? I think there's going to be John Kettley talking in the background. Could you rip his mic off or something like that, because it's a bit distracting. So it has a significance then beyond the firework display and the...
Well, I think
so. Yes.
I mean, I truly think... See, after all, I've been sitting up there looking at pictures coming from India, from China, from all over the place. And the fact that everybody's agreed, okay, it may not coincide with events in our particular religion, but okay, this is a time for looking back and for looking forward. That is something. And I'm not suggesting that it's going to mean that people will forget their quarrels with one another, but at least it will understand that we are all together on this one planet, and we do have the responsibility to do something about it.
What's been interesting too, of course, has been the way that this medium that we work in has brought all this together, the way that we've encircled the globe with technology. It must be interesting to you to think back, I mean, over the time that you spent starting in television. I mean, this was unthinkable, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it ever? Yes. I remember when David's father, Richard, you probably do too, said, and now we have an important moment in the development of television. Within the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if we're lucky, we may get pictures from Calais.
Yeah, that was about the limit of it, about 50 miles,
It was.
Something like that.
It was,
that was the big thing.
down, and if you remember the satellite, it just went over, and you could only get a short period when you could see both sides of it.
Yes. Yeah. So from that point of view, I mean, this kind of wonderful technology, the advance has been to the common good.
Oh, I don't have any doubt about that. Yes. And the interesting thing, of course, is that what we have seen tonight couldn't have happened even 10 years ago.
No.
It's simply impossible.
Yes. Talking about the advances in technology, I mean, what difference have they made to you and the job that you particularly do, filming natural wildlife? Has it made your job easier? Has it made it more difficult?
Oh, yeah. Certainly it's made it easier. I mean, no, it hasn't made it easier, but it's meant that it is possible to do things that we never dreamed were possible. We didn't believe ever that we'd be able to see in the dark. At least not in my lifetime, I didn't think. And yet here we have cameras which can really see absolutely in pitch blackness. And we didn't really think that we could ever see inside, let us say, a mole tunnel. Yeah. And now we've got little cameras, as you know, the size of your little finger that you can put in there. Yeah. And so you can see all kinds of new things which you've never thought you'd see before.
And looking back on that long career you've had doing the job you're doing, do you think you've actually made any difference? Do you think you've had a significant effect upon that which you love?
Well, I think television has. I truly think that there has been an awareness, undoubtedly, an awareness of the importance of environmental problems, yes. Which wasn't there 40 years ago. Yes. It certainly wasn't. And the fact that we have now, most governments have to have a minister who says, yes, my responsibility is the environment. It's very important. And that in democracies, people say, we want to know what people are doing about that. Now, There's a long way to go, but it's a step. Now, why have people thought of that? Well, I truly think that seeing the natural world on television has led quite a lot of people to realize how important it is.
What is it about the natural world, though? What is the fascination? These programs are not only informative, they're hugely, hugely popular.
Yeah, because I think, well, I can think a lot of, as it were, negative reasons. That is to say, they aren't trying to sell you anything. They aren't trying to win your vote. They are always true in a really profound way. And people recognize that, and people know that what they are seeing there is something which they share with organisms which are not human, and yet which are part of them.
Yes.
You know? And I think the natural world now, well, look what it's done to ecotourism, you see. Why do people want to go to Kenya to look at these things? Because they know there's something rather powerful, and that there's something rather true about them, something rather important. And it's, to that degree, those kind of elements which they see in film of animals when they see it on television.
Given that, I mean, we've seen one or two tonight of what I'm going to talk about, moments on television. I mean, television is about moments, isn't it? I mean, we've had one or two today. What would be, looking back again on your career, those moments you'd select by saying, yes, that was just remarkable, I shall remember that forever when I've forgotten the rest of it?
Well, as a matter of fact, you know, that thing of Richard Dimpleby's going to Calais was very, very remarkable, yes. Because we suddenly saw, see, we had a rather proprietorial view here in this country, because after all, we invented television, yeah. And we put on the first national public service of television in the world, so we kind of felt we knew about it, and we did. And others came on later. The Americans came on, you know, a bit late during the war. They don't really actually realize that we did it first. But anyway, we did it first, and you suddenly saw that it was going to be worldwide when Richard introduced Calais. And you suddenly thought, my golly, we're going to see how Frenchmen live, you know, normal Frenchmen live. And seeing how other ordinary people live is very important, and seeing how they celebrate is one way towards that.
This is what we've seen a lot of tonight.
We have.
One of the miracles of this medium we're in is that we can actually cross now live to New York, where a great treat awaits us, because we have actually there, we can see